that, I'm going to turn it over to our director of training, Mr. Michael Catlow, who is in Charlotte, North Carolina today. As you know, these guys move around quite a bit from state to state and country to country, but they're in Charlotte, North Carolina today. So with that, buddy, I'm going to turn it over to you. Grab your pens and papers, guys.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jake, and thank you, Bart. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, the Levarti corporate team. Everybody working hard in the back end, on the backside to get all of that stuff all in place and ready to go. So, in addition to any of the affiliate commissions, as Jake was talking, for those of you who are travel advisors and or want to recruit travel advisors, I suggest you hop on Monday night's call, as we just got our most recent commission report, and as the text came back from Bart, as I let everybody know what the report shared. This past month's commissions were just about double of what they were the month previous. So well over $12,000 in travel advisor commissions being paid out just for this particular past month that just completed. So we'll be doing announcements about the top 10, the types of bookings, and a great training content around that for all of the travel advisors. But specifically as well, if you are in this business to recruit travel advisors and make money from building a team and entering the revenue share pools and so forth, like, you definitely want to get on that call just to make sure you are aware of what the Passport Travel Advisor program offers, how people are crushing it and winning at a high level, in addition to all of the affiliate side. So excited about Monday night's call. And then I do know in the chat, Donna, I think it was, let me just scroll up. Donna said, I hope, looks like Michael got into the house. Okay, she says, Michael got back into the house. Yay. And then Joy, I see on here, also sent a message on a Facebook post that we had made. And today's topic is actually going to be based on real life, okay? You know, I'm not a comedian, but if you've ever heard comedians talk, they're like, sometimes life itself is the best producer of content, right? If we just observe things that happen in the world. And so let's go ahead and get today started. I've got some slides for you. Ever since last night, I've been really preparing and deep diving into today's content, and I'm excited about it. So first off, as always, we want to welcome all of the Levarti members, affiliates, travel advisors. Okay, thank you. All right, there we go. Okay, one other quick announcement. Tomorrow, July 20th, is the last day to secure your room on the Levarti Traincation in November. And since it is the last day to secure the booking, it will require a full $500 per room deposit. For those that deposited, weeks ago, a month ago, it was $100. And then by tomorrow is when we're doing the $500 deposit per room. So for those of you who have not yet booked your trip, I'll get Katie to post the link to where you can fill out the JOT form. Now, the JOT form may still just say $100 deposit on there. Dave's going to be emailing everybody out. And if you've already made your $100 deposit, they are going to need to collect that additional $400. And those of you who are just going to be booking it today or tomorrow, it will require a full $500 deposit. But this is going to be an amazing trip. It is November 14th to the 17th down in Cancun, Mexico, one of my favorite places in the world. Mexico in general, but Cancun is actually where I met my amazing wife at the airport taxi stand down there. So it's got a special place in our heart. It's at the Riu Latino all-inclusive resort. So as soon as you land in Mexico and get through customs and immigration, you've got airport transfers. We're going to bring you from the airport to the resort, check-in, food, drinks, entertainment, socializing, community. There'll be a little training there about how to build your business and so forth. So again, we are all in the travel business, the travel side of this world of entrepreneurship. And I believe one of the best ways to build your travel business, whether it's booking travel for clients as a travel advisor, selling Passport Light memberships, and or being an affiliate and recruiting people into this community so that they can go bless others, personally traveling is one of the best ways to build your business. So definitely recommend hop on, book that trip. Katie was giving me a little
trip protection. There's a drop down for how many.
If you're going to do trip protection on a new booking, there is a drop down box that says, do you want it for one person or two people? If there's two of you in the room, you do need to make sure you select it for two. Okay, that was just a little formal announcement. Now let's get into today's topic. Remember I said real life is sometimes the greatest creator of the best way to observe what happens and then tell stories about it. So Katie and I decided to go for a walk yesterday. I'm going to stop sharing just for a second. Is there anybody else on here, if you're on camera, are you the type that as soon as you walk in the house, you lock the door? Is anybody else like that? Like you're a door locker no matter where you are? Okay, is there anybody who's not a door locker? Raise your hand if you're not a door locker. Okay, that's Katie. Katie doesn't care if the door's locked or unlocked. Me, for whatever it is, it's a habit. I just lock the doors. And I actually locked Katie out of the house one time. We were at another house sit. She was out walking this big 100-pound Great Pyrenees, beautiful, beautiful white dog. I was walking a little itty bitty one they had. So she was older. So we just went out the front door. I came in, locked not the deadbolt, just the little handle on the door. Katie was walking the dog for 10 or 15 more minutes. I came inside. I had music blaring, like dancing around, doing whatever I do. She's out there banging on the door, texting me. I'm not even hearing it. So I've even locked my wife outside of the house. Well, yesterday, this house sit that we are on, how many of you ever seen like the keypads that are on a door? You just pop in a code and it unlocks the deadbolt. Well, this house has one of those keypads. But what it doesn't have is a keypad for the handle. And the handle has the little knob you little turn, right? And that can either lock or unlock. Now, we've only been here for 2 days. And so, normally my habit is I lock that door. So we decided to go out for a walk yesterday. Let me go ahead and share my screen again. We decided to go out for a little walk, get our steps in, be a little bit healthy. And by the way, anybody ever decide to do that when your phone is almost out of battery as well? Not a good thing to do, right? So we go out, we come back, we go to pop in the code on the door, and the door won't open. It like flashes red because we never locked the code because we just went around the neighborhood. And so the handle was locked, which I had locked the previous time I had come into the house. Okay, so what does all this have to do with being a travel entrepreneur? Okay, here's the lesson, right? And we're going to get into some deeper dives into this. While we are sitting there, luckily we happen to be in Charlotte as opposed to in Florida where we just were down near Jake, or in Australia or in Prague somewhere, especially with a low battery phone. So when we locked ourselves out of the house, first off, I went around to the back door was locked. The cat was sitting by the back glass door, just kind of looking out, and the cat was no help in letting us in the door. So we couldn't get in. And so immediately I thought, oh my gosh, what do? I got to get on Google Maps. I got to search for a locksmith. We texted the homeowners, do you have like a spare key anywhere? And they're down at the beach. They were out on a boat, so they didn't even see the text. Like they didn't reply for 3 or 4 hours. But here's what actually happened. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl, Eleanor, that we met at a networking function, her husband owns a locksmith business, and they're here in Charlotte. So I immediately texted our friend Eleanor. We've known Eleanor. We've never even met her husband, but we've known Eleanor for about 4 years. But guess what? We have never needed the service of a locksmith. Okay. So unfortunately, he was on the other side of town. He wasn't able to help. So I had to get on Google Maps and look for the local locksmith that came out about 30 minutes later, and $95 were back in the house. So not a problem. But the very first thing that I did, which leads us into our topics today, is we're going to talk about the buyer readiness pyramid. So how you and I can talk to the right people about travel and entrepreneurship. And then a real key thing called TOMA. Anybody ever heard the term TOMA? Top of mind awareness. Some may say top of mind recall. There's several different ways around there. But remember, we've known Eleanor and of her husband for 4 years. Never messaged them, never commented on their Facebook posts, never engaged with their locksmith business. But when we needed the service because of top of mind awareness, guess who the first person we texted was? We texted Eleanor, asked if her husband Luke was around. All right, so let's dive into this a little bit deeper. And again, I've spent, about 5 or 6 hours since last night, like putting this together to go, how do we translate this into travel? And how do we put this in a way that all of us can put it into practical action and start making money today, okay? Making money this week, making money this month in this industry that we're in. So anybody, by a show of hands, if you're on video, have you ever felt like you're talking to a wall? You're posting, you're direct messaging, you're inviting people. I see Dana. Yeah, I can't see everybody's videos on here, but like here's the real truth. And as we get into this, I've got a few suggestions of screenshots that I'll encourage you to take. Here's what I believe to be the truth. Most people are not ignoring you. They're just not ready to buy yet. We needed a locksmith yesterday. We haven't needed a locksmith for 4 years. Yesterday, we really, it was a necessity that we needed a locksmith. So we reached out to Eleanor and Luke. So most people that you're posting towards, you're communicating with, you're meeting at networking functions, they may just not be ready to buy, but at some point there's a probability that they will be. And we want to help you find those kind of people. Okay. So this is, if you want to take a screenshot of this, I think this is, now I had to custom build it to make it, specific to like travel and so forth. But in general, in sales, there's this thing called the buyer readiness pyramid. And we're going to relate this to travel for the next 2 slides. Okay. So can you all, first off, Kathy, Bart, Dana, Jake, you guys can see the screen? Okay, thanks. So if we break this down to the top 3%, let's base this on 100 random people. Okay. 3% of people in general, regardless of the industry, regardless of the business, are ready to buy now. The next 7% are open to buying soon. The next 30% are, they call it problem aware. I'm going to call it travel aware or vacation aware, but they're not actively looking to book their trip right now, or they're not actively looking to make extra money right this second, but they know they need to make or want to make extra money, but they're just not actively looking today, July 19th. Now, the next 30% are unaware that they even have a problem, or they don't even know that this thing exists. And then there's the bottom 30%, which are not your people, okay? So some key takeaways. What I've done in my own personal life, and I see people as well, like focusing outside of travel and just general business, like they spend so much time, energy, mental thought process focusing on the wrong people, trying to convince people to purchase your product, trying to convince people to join your team when for whatever it is, they're not in the top 3% or in the top 7% just because of where they are in life or the time of year or the season that they are in. So we want to help everybody focus on the top 10%. And we want to feed the middle so that when they are ready, you are top of mind. And we want to just forget about the bottom. Okay. So let's turn this into travel for a second. So here's some thoughts. Top 3%. How many of you would agree if somebody is already planning a trip or saying, man, I need a vacation? If that's their mindset, if that's their words, if that's their post or something like that, that they are incredibly in the top 3%. I need a vacation, or I'm in the planning process. So they're looking for a way to travel smarter or save money. And we're going to talk about recruiting in just a second as well. So they're in this space now. We just got a call yesterday from a referral from somebody that we actually booked travel through our Levarti relationship. We did a honeymoon to Ireland for a couple earlier this year. They just referred us to another set of friends that are getting married and want to book a honeymoon to Switzerland and Italy next year. We just had a call with them. Now remember, their travel is not happening until next year, but they're in the planning process right now. I won't show you their names, but you can see here's my little note card, right? I'll read you some of the things they're looking for. They want Zurich, Switzerland, Florence, wine country. They usually stay at like a Marriott type of property. They want to go to the Amalfi Coast and do a boat trip, like a day trip to Capri, or maybe even a booze cruise. In Switzerland, they want to do hiking, biking, canoeing on the water, like maybe in Lucerne. And in Florence, they want to do a wine tour, right? You can see it all right here on my note card. So this is a top 3%. You definitely want to try to find those types of people. So the next 7%, they're open soon. They're dreaming of travel, but it's not urgent. They're warming up to the idea. Now, these people, if you're posting travel content, and again, we'll talk about recruiting in a second, They are probably watching your stories. They may even like your post. They may engage, they may not engage, right? But they are in the mindset of, I need to plan my birthday trip, right? My 50th birthday is next year. So we are in this space as well of planning for our own trips. So then you have this huge middle section. People that are unaware or don't need something right now, but it's possible. Maybe they're stuck in the someday I'll get to travel. So here's something I see many of you post incredible, incredible posts, like pictures from your hotel platform with, wow, this huge savings, this huge savings. And I would encourage you to do that every single day, a different destination, like a different location, a different deal, because this huge middle section, which is a massive, massive group of people, the more value-driven content that you post, top 3 ways to travel more with a 9 to 5, how we got 3 free trips this year with this membership, how I saved up to 70% on my own hotels, how Kathy booked this trip, let me see who else is on here. I'm gonna call out another name. How Angela is traveling, how Dan and Shannon booked a trip and are booking another trip. Oh, I saw Dawn Williamson is always posting stuff about travel, right? Dee Dee, like all these folks that are on here. Joy, I think, just got back from Australia. So like, it doesn't even have to be your own content. You can talk about other members in the Levarti community. And if you just will stay consistent, a lot of those 30% in the middle will possibly move up to the, man, I am ready soon, and or I'm ready to buy. And when we get to the TOMA, the top of mind awareness section, I want each and every one of you to be the go-to person when it comes to somebody thinking about travel or ready to book travel. And then lastly, right, there's like 60%. So if we use this out of 100, 60 out of 100 people in general, it's just a statistic, like they're just not even your market, okay? Now let's think about this from a community like Levarti. If all you are, and DJ talks about this all the time, he does such an amazing job in training about this content. If a lot of the people you're connected with on social media are already in Levarti, and you're commenting, liking, and engaging on their stuff, like we want you to do that. Do that inside the Levarti Nation Facebook group. And in public as well, you want to do that because it shows confirmation and buyer's confirmation. But remember, if they're already in Levarti, they fit in this bottom 60%. Like they're not going to buy from you. They're not going to join you because they're already in Levarti. So this is where like we got to really focus on those that matter. Now, here's one of the challenges with social media. You have no idea where somebody is in their mindset. You don't know if they're in the top 3%. You don't know if they're in the 7%. You don't know if they're thinking about travel, not thinking about travel. And so this is where just being consistent and then commenting and engaging and doing your DMOs and doing birthday messages and commenting on other people's stuff. If you are the one that is very public, very loud and proud about what you have to offer, you then start becoming the travel guy, the travel girl, the person I think of when I think about going on vacation. Does that make sense to everybody? Kind of like just from a general standpoint. Okay, so let's talk about the buyer's readiness pyramid when it comes to recruiting, because these averages, these percentages, like it might be 4%, it might be 5%, it might be 2% on any given day, on any given month, on any given year, any product, good, or service. It might be slightly different. So we're just using this as kind of a framework, but it doesn't really matter if you're talking about selling a travel membership, booking travel for people, recruiting them to be an affiliate. It's all kind of about the same thing. So there are, okay, I'm gonna read this and then I'll stop sharing for a second. 3% ready to join now are actively looking for a side hustle or maybe want to travel and make money. Let's just see, for those of you that are here on video, has there ever been a time in your life where you were actively thinking, I gotta do something to make some more money? Yep. And it didn't have to be because times were bad. It could be maybe you wanted to make extra money to go on a vacation or buy a new car or whatever the case is. So think back in your own life. Has there ever been a time where you were not consciously thinking, I got to find some side hustle and make extra money? Has there ever been times in your life where you've not been thinking about that? Okay. For some, it might always be like a lingering thing, like, man, more money would be nice every single day of my life. But if you think about it in like a intentional, focused time, all of us have probably had more time where we're not actively looking than where we are actively looking. Does that make sense for most of you that are on here on camera? So if that's the case in our own lives, doesn't it make sense that with 8 billion people on planet Earth, there's a small percentage that right now, July 19th, are looking for a way to make extra money? Absolutely. But what about the next phase, right? Is it true that there's probably a percentage that are like, man, and I'll use a real life scenario, okay? Open to joining soon. For those, okay, there's seasons in network marketing, okay? Sometimes in some businesses, summer is a big booming time, and sometimes summer is a slower time. For recruiting, for affiliate marketing, for making extra money, one of the most fascinatingly explosive times in this industry is guess when? September and October. Anybody have any ideas why? Kids going back to school, parents then going, right? Because like maybe during the summer, if they have young kids and the kids are not in school or at camp or in daycare, they're spending time with each other, right? They're maybe going on vacation, maybe they're doing some sporting events or things like that. But when it comes back to like, okay, now the kids are back in school, Christmas is coming up, right? So like, I gotta make some extra money. Or let's also think teachers. I'll just use that as a scenario because guess what? One of these people that's going on their honeymoon to Switzerland and Italy next year is a teacher. And so during the summer, she doesn't have to work. The bride to be is the teacher. She doesn't have to work. But let's say somebody hates their job or hates the pay they get with their job, but they love their job. So then when they get back into work and they're like, man, I loved my summer where I slept till 10 a.m. I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. anymore and go have to get in traffic and get behind the bus and get to school and deal with these rowdy kids anymore, right? So just using this as an example and using it as a real life scenario, isn't it possible that right now there's a bunch of people that are traveling, even if it's a road trip to the beach or just getting away for the weekend, and in about a month, maybe 2 months, maybe a short time period, they're going to be like, man, I loved that vacation I took. I didn't even know there was a way to make money in the travel industry. And I'm back in my job. I'm back in my career. I'm back in the grind. And I really, really would love to do something different as a side hustle, as a full-time gig. So they might not be open now, but they might be open very, very soon. So if you are consistent in your messaging, they may follow your content. I don't know if anybody's ever like commented, man, I need to do what you're doing someday, or that vacation looked amazing. Or you post, I know a lot of you use like the Maldives on a passport light slide that you may do, like, oh, this amazing 78% off in the Maldives. Somebody may go, man, I would love to go there someday, or it's on my bucket list, right? So they also might feel overwhelmed or hesitant. And this is where if you are posting value-based things, right? Single moms, we've got an opportunity for you to, make extra money to work towards staying home with your kids. Busy entrepreneurs, tired of sitting in your office, what if you could be on the beach, right? So just rotating your content, your messaging, talking to different people, but always just remembering some are ready to buy now, some will be ready to buy soon. Some are aware, but they want freedom, right? But they don't think they have the time. They're worried it's a scam. They don't believe it's possible for them. Let's stop there. Let's stop sharing. How many of you, I'm going to raise both my hands and my left foot and my right foot. I'm not very flexible. I'm going to raise all four at the same time and say, how many of you have ever had limiting beliefs in, man, I don't know if I could even do this, right? Here in Levarti. I mean, sometimes I have that on a daily basis, and I'm pretty confident. I'm pretty competent. I'm pretty like, I've been in this a while, and every day my emotions go like this. I don't know if anybody else is that way as well. And so it's just, if we think this is how we are, and there's 8 billion people on planet Earth, don't we think it's possible that somebody else may be thinking, man, I don't have the time to do this. Like, is this real? Is it not real? Can I do it? And so if you create content around that, I wasn't sure if I was going to be successful as an entrepreneur. But even when I made like, let's say you're not having huge success, right? But you've enrolled one person as a Passport Light member. Like, you can use that story for 5 years. You can go, I was so nervous. I was so scared. I was so hesitant. I wasn't sure if I could do it. But when I enrolled my very first customer, I was thrilled to death and I made a little extra money. It made me believe I could do it over and over again. You can use your first sale, your first recruit, your first training, your first trip, and you can tell that same story in a gazillion different ways for a quadrillion number of years. So don't think you have to always be posting or communicating or talking about something that's relevant today. It's just you got to be consistent, okay? And then remember, 30%, they don't even know that making money in travel is a thing or may not believe that regular people can do this if they're not an influencer. And then like the bottom 30%, they're not your people, right? Do not waste any energy. Sorry, tongue twister. They mock network marketing. They hate selling. They don't travel, right? And sometimes if you're only focused on social media, we may not know that about a person, right? But just remember, if you're posting, it may be hitting the right people, and it also may be hitting people who don't care. It's always a numbers game. We've got to go through enough people to find those that are ready to buy now. Make sense? Okay. Let's change gears for a few more slides to one of my favorite topics. And this one changed my life forever. 20 years ago, I had still a mentor today, but I met this gentleman in a network marketing company. I was part of his team, like way down. He was way up. And this gentleman, he's in South Carolina. A little bit of his story. He couldn't read till he was 31 years old. Not because he was stupid, he had like an eye motor problem. It was almost like dyslexia, but it's not specifically dyslexia. And he lived in a very poor small town in Alabama is where he was born and raised. And so he just never got any like counseling. He never got any coaching. He never was able to go to the doctor. And this guy, when I met him, he was in his mid 60s. So he had already been super successful. He had made over $75 million. He was voted the South Carolina Businessman of the Year. He was voted by the United States Chamber of Commerce as one of the top 50 business minds in the United States. And remember, he couldn't read till he was 31 years old. He had 5 different industries that he was building businesses in, including one in network marketing or direct sales. And the thing that always stood out to me about the way he trained is because he couldn't read, it also meant he couldn't write until he was in his 30s. Does that make sense? So everything that he did, he had to look at the world in pictures. And if you think about this, let me just stop sharing for a second. If you think about how the brain operates, how our mind operates, if I say, think of a dog, how many of you thought the word D-O-G? Not many, right? How many of you pictured a dog? Whether you like dogs, don't like dogs, whether you've had a dog, haven't liked a dog, whether it's your neighbor's dog or just one you've seen on the internet. So our brain does not work in words. Our brain works in pictures, in visuals, in storytelling. That's how it works. And another thing about our brain, which I always find fascinating, is, okay, I want everybody to be honest here, okay? Whatever you do, don't think of a pink elephant. How many of you thought of a pink elephant? Okay.
Rebels.
Yeah, and those who didn't raise your hand, you're probably thinking of it now, right? So our brain also is unable to process the words don't, not, right? Whatever you do not think of a purple dragon. Or whatever you do. Oh, here's another one. For those of you on camera, or those of you, everybody look at your screen, whether you're on camera or not. And whatever you do, now I've prepped this, right? Do not look at Jake's face. Don't look at Jake. Do not look at Jake. Whatever you do, don't look at Jake. Now, I've been prepping it, so if I was to just have said that, everybody probably would have looked at Jake, right? So if it's true, our brains don't understand the words or is unable, notice how I said don't understand. If our brains are unable to process the words don't, they're unable to process the words not. If they work in pictures and we need to just have quick recall, this gentleman shared this idea with me and it revolutionized everything about my entrepreneurial journey. He said, we all need to focus on TOMA, top of mind awareness. And if you in your community, like let's take social media out of the equation, right? Before social media marketing existed, people that were successful in business in their local communities might have advertised in the paper. They might have sponsored a kids' little league thing. Some restaurants might have like tables where they put ads on the table, you know, underneath the plastic top or whatever. So it's just all about if everybody in town knows you as XYZ, when that time comes for them to need XYZ, who are they typically going to come to? Especially if they know, like, and trust and believe that you're competent in what you do. So this idea of top of mind awareness, it's the reason why I wear a shirt that says, I love travel. Now, you don't have to wear a shirt that says, I love travel. You don't have to carry coffee mugs around that say, I love travel. But a real life story from this morning as well. Before Jake and I got on the call, Katie and I try to get up and do our steps every morning. And I'll show you. Anybody ever use the WeWord app? No, okay. It's completely free. Don't download it. Like, it's just kooky. You get this little panda bear that like tracks your steps and you get to collect these little cards out and about. So like this morning, we got 4,452 steps and we're just in a random neighborhood. We don't live here. We haven't been here. We both are wearing our I Love Travel shirts. And this couple walking two dogs walking down the street, guess what ended up happening? They stopped and they said, oh, you guys are so cute in your matching shirts. Like, I'm assuming you love travel. Where's one of your favorite places or your favorite place that you've gone? Now, so what I did is I said, oh, well, if you've traveled, you know, there's a lot of great places. So we have a lot of favorites. What's some of your favorite places that you've ever gone? Instead of answering their questions, I flipped it back on them. And then I also said, as we were continuing the conversation, I said, well, those are great destinations. Where's somewhere you haven't yet been, but you've dreamed about forever? Right? And they were like, oh, well, we want to go here. We want to go there. We want to go here. We want to go there. So again, these are complete random strangers, but we didn't get their info because they had dogs and we were out and about and had to get back for the call and stuff like that. But in a space like that, that's top of mind awareness. Okay. That's branding. That's marketing. That's becoming known as the travel girl, the travel guy, the vacation guy, the make money guy. Okay. So top of mind awareness as we get ready to wrap this up. And I purposely put don't be forgotten because I wanted to come in and say, focus on being remembered. Okay, that's what top of mind awareness is. So how to stay top of mind without being annoying. So you want to focus on being obsessed with consistency. And this goes for those of you that are in-person meetings at BNIs and networking functions and out and about in the community and stuff like that, and especially on social media. You have got consistent, you don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want, but consistency is going to be your absolute best friend. So how small, regular touch points, social media posts, check-ins, stories, trip tips, what all these things do is they build trust and influence, which then influence future buying decisions from your contacts. So people buy from who they remember when it's time, okay? Is there anybody that would argue with me on that? Like, people buy from who they remember when it's time, especially in a service-based business. Now, you can do ads. Like, remember, we texted our locksmith friend, but we ended up going on Google because he was not available. But that's who we went to right at first. So staying visible is not pestering people, right? Especially on social media. It's just positioning yourself as the go-to person. So posting is important, and we've talked about this a bunch as well. In addition to making your own posts, it's sometimes a gazillion times more effective to comment on other people's posts, to message other people. And I'll just stop there for a second, because how many of you on video here, if you've made a post about anything, it could be about Levarti, it could be about the affiliate side, it could be about travel, it could be about a story, it could be about a birthday party, it could be whatever. You've posted and you've looked at your post to see if anybody liked your comments. Anybody ever do that? And if you see the little notification pop up, how many of you immediately click on the little notification bell and you get like a little dopamine hit? It's like, all right, I got a like, I got a comment. And you are excited when somebody engages with your content, right? But the vast majority of people do not engage with your content. They don't comment and they don't like. So if you get excited, it's so simple. If you get excited when people like and comment on your stuff, imagine how the other person feels when you like or comment on their stuff, right? They get that same dopamine hit. They get that same little notification icon that comes up, and you, Kathy, Bart, Dana, Donna, Melanie, Stana, Debbie, Tina, Martha, Tracy, Iris, Dan and Shannon, Paul, Mike, Joy, Bo, Clay, Jake, Michael, Katie, you become the hero in their life. So in my opinion, it's actually easier to brand yourself by commenting on other people's stuff. Because if you comment on somebody else, even if it's not about travel, how many of you, if somebody comments on your post, if you're not really, you haven't talked to this person in a while, how many of you go and look at their profile? 100%. So guess what? If your profile has a beautiful header on Facebook that says, I'm your travel go-to person, or make money in travel, and you've got posts that you've done and you're commenting on other people's stuff and they click on your profile, they now are seeing you as a amazing person that engaged with their stuff. And now they're looking at your stuff and going, well, maybe I'm in the 30%, maybe I'm in the 7%, maybe I'm in the 3%. But when it's time, I'm going to Paul. I'm going to Tracy. I'm going to Debbie. I'm going to Kathy, right? All making sense to everybody? Okay, so here's a challenge. Post once a day for 7 days straight using this top of mind framework, a personal story, a travel tip, a win, a testimonial. I love when John Rankin gets on here and goes, guys, gals, like if you would just log into your Passport Lite, or even if you're a Passport Travel Advisor or Passport, the Passport Lite platform, which gives you access to the hotels, resorts, and stuff like that. Just go in there every day or a couple times a week and do a search, do a screenshot, post it up, talk about it, okay? So a little takeaway, if they can't remember you, then they can't buy from you. And this is whether it's on travel or on the recruiting side. All right, so the buyer readiness pyramid again. You are not, I'm sorry, this is more on the TOMA. I forgot to change the title on there, sorry. You're not being ignored, you're just not being seen. So demystify the buyer delay. Many people do want to travel or join, but they may need repetition and reminders before taking action. So some key points. There's all types of statistics that people post, but here's one. It's called the rule of 7. People often need to see something 7 or more times before they act, okay? And social algorithms may be hurting our reach. So you want to be omnipresent, stories, reels, inbox, groups, etc. So saved replies, story templates, scheduled check-ins, things like that, just making sure to stay top of mind awareness. All right, so people need to see your light on before they will knock on the door. So as we wrap it up, last slide, in my opinion, take it with a grain of salt. There's 38 of us on here, right? Well, some of you might have 2 of you in the room. So let's say there's 40 of us. So one person's opinion is selling and or recruiting isn't about convincing people. It's about being visible when those right people are ready. It is not our job to convince anyone. It's our job to connect the ready with a solution. And then this is key, planting seeds for the rest. So having conversations with people, engaging, one verbal, talking on the phone, sitting face to face, doing Zooms, messaging through social media, right? Being out in public, talking to the cash register person at the grocery store. Conversations is where you're really going to find that top 10%, those that are like ready to go right now or really close to doing it. And then consistent marketing, being public. I say be loud and proud. Loud does not mean you have to do videos, does not mean you need to speak about things. You can do static posts, photos, chat GPT content, but just be loud and proud. Like, let it ooze out of your pores that you love this industry of travel. You love this industry of affiliate marketing. You love this opportunity with Levarti to be able to earn from the revenue share pools that are probably getting ready to explode out the wazoo, if you guys knew all the ins and outs of the stuff that's happening. Okay, so just let it, like, give yourself permission to be jacked up excited, okay, in your own way. Forget about the bottom people. Remember, there's going to be a bunch of people that will never, ever, ever be your client. They will never, ever, ever join your team. They're just not in the space. But 60 out of 100, 6 out of 10, 60%-ish over time are either ready to buy now, thinking about buying, interested, but it's just not the right time, or can be persuaded over time. And those of you, Kathy, Bart, Dana, Debbie, Stana, Melanie, Donna, Tina, Martha, Tracy, Iris, Dan and Shannon, Paul, Mike, Joy, Bo, Jake, Clay, John, Karen. I don't know if I can't go through. Hey, there's Dee Dee. Okay. Ron, Stacy, Stana, Steve, Francois, got her name right. She corrected me earlier this week. Those of you that make that commitment to be known as the person that can help people make money in an incredible industry called travel and vacation, fun and memories, and or be the person that can help them book that travel and those vacations or help them get a membership. Guys and gals, the sky is the limit. Jake sent a text yesterday after I think it was yesterday, yeah. I sent, we got that report from RSI about the travel commissions, and I had said, hey, another 12,000 plus in travel agent commissions to Levarti advisors. Jake said, awesome. Bart says 12,000 plus in travel agent commissions, double the prior month. And Jake says, in like a longer text, I'll just summarize it. I know when all this stuff gets done, the back office, the tech, all of that stuff is in place, which is like right there. We're going to be so good with the revenue pools increasing each month. So mark our words. Oh, I got goosebumps. I don't know if you can see them. Can you see it on there? They're actually down my legs too. July 19th, 2025. Back office is like right there being ready. Travel advisor program is better than it's ever been. Passport Light membership is getting so much exposure. Lots of people are seeing it. Because of your corporate leadership, because of your owners, they are working on some amazing deals in addition to some of you as affiliates bringing some of that to the table to really ramp up these revenue share pools. So those of you that focus in right now, July 19th moving forward, post, comment, engage, ask people, will you buy this membership, right? It will save you money. Are you ready to buy now? Not right now? Cool. I'm going to follow up with you. Is that cool? Do you want to make money in travel? Become a travel agent. Like, get excited. Like, people will travel hundreds of miles to watch you burn, right? If you're on fire, if you're excited, they will follow. If you're lackluster, if you're like, this little Levarti thing is it's kind of cool. And like one day, maybe it's going to be awesome. And even if that's the feel when you make a static post, I believe people can feel that. I believe energy transfers. And so like do jumping jacks, hop up and down, then make your post, right? Smile when you talk to people. Smile when you are making posts. And I believe this next 6 months to close out this year, all of you that are engaged, if you have that desire to make a bunch of money, help a lot of people, have a ton of fun, this is your home. You've made a great choice being here. So Jake, we'll turn it back over to you to close us out. Thank you all for letting me share again. And we promise we will never lock ourselves out of the house without proper keys.
All right, great job, guys. Let's give it up for Michael. This is, I'm telling you, I've said this so many times, we've got the best training in this industry. And he said it a second ago, but things are in place. The back office is there. Everything is set up for us to go out and have success. And by the way, you've heard DJ and I in the past talking about our vision of some of the B2B concepts that we're working on, some of the companies that we're talking to that we've already got commitments for, guys. They're literally sitting, waiting for us to get this technology in place. And that's part of the reason that Bart and I and DJ and Michael have, been a little bit on edge and a little bit stressed out for the last couple of days, because we know what we have. We know what's coming. We know how this will drive enormous amounts of volume into the revenue share pools. And this training today was just phenomenal. And it's something small that we can do on a daily basis, right? You hear DJ get on here and talk about his DMO. I mean, this guy's an animal. He goes from the first second he wakes up until he puts his head down at night. He's all action. He's very disciplined. He's very focused. He's putting in a full-time effort. I realize that's not everybody, right? You've got to show up and put in the amount of time that you want and that you can afford to do and work it into your lifestyle. But the point is, you've got to take action. You can learn all this great training. You can take these great notes, hear these great concepts, but you've got to go put it into play. You've got to put it into action. And so I would challenge you today. Here's what you're going to, and I'm talking to myself too, by the way, when it comes to social media. I need to be more consistent with the stuff that matters, okay? And here's my challenge to you guys, and I will do this, okay? I challenge you today, as soon as you get off this call, go make a post. Go make a curiosity post about travel. Go put a travel tip up. Go put a post about making money in the travel industry or paying wholesale versus retail, whatever it may be. Go make a post today that can help build curiosity and display your business and let the world on social media know what we're doing. Because here's the thing, you talk about that top 3% that Michael was talking about that are ready to buy now. You never know who those people are in your feed. You may get somebody reach out to you today and have a new member by the end of today. And that's a little step that we can do each and every day. Doesn't take a lot of effort. Just you've got to be consistent with it though, and you've got to keep showing up. But again, Michael, great training. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here. It's always one of my favorite parts of the week is getting on here and listening to this incredible information. So I appreciate you guys being here. Paul, you guys be safe wherever you are. I know you're driving down the road. Say hello to the mayor of Levarti right there, Mr. Paul. All right, guys, we'll see you next Saturday. Take care.